What's your advice to Keir Starmer as he engages with the new Trump presidency?
Listen, my advice to Keir Starmer is to stop being an idiot because, listen, Keir Starmer and half of the cabinet voted against President Trump's state visit last time round. We've got so many of members, David Landry notably, having carried out vitriolic and ridiculous personal attacks on Donald Trump.
What's your advice to Keir Starmer as he engages with the new Trump presidency? Listen, my advice to Keir Starmer is to stop being an idiot because listen, KST and half of the cabinet voted against President Trump's state visit last time round. We've got so many of members, David Ly notably, having carried out vitriolic and ridiculous personal attacks on Donald Trump. They all know there's a difference between being simply ignorant and being outright foolish after being snubbed and not invited to President Trump's inauguration, has now appointed Peter Manderson as the UK's ambassador to the US. It's worth noting that Manderson is someone who has openly insulted and criticized Trump. Before we continue, I have a request. A lot of viewers don't subscribe and it discourages us. Subscription is free. Please help keep us motivated. Have you subscribed yet? Now let's get back into the video. Desperately trying to backtrack, and then all desperately trying to suck up to President Trump. At best they're going to be irrelevant, but at worst they have done great harm to the UK's national interest, so they've got to grow up, stop playing petty student politics and actually stand up for the UK. Get a free trade agreement, work on ensuring our military and security. Before diving into that, on January 20th, 2025, Salah Braun, former Home Secretary, strongly condemned Labour leader Keir Starmer for putting Britain's relationship with the US at risk, particularly regarding the incoming President Donald Trump. Braun called Starmer foolish for his past hostility toward Trump, pointing out that Starmer and several of his cabinet members had previously voted against Trump's state visit, and it is pretty embarrassing for Britain to have the special relationship that we have, and everybody knows we have it with the United States of America, but Donald Trump has seemed fit not to invite Keir Stalin, no doubt because of his views on Donald Trump, no doubt because of David Lamy's sayings on Donald Trump, maybe indeed because of Sadiq Khan's protestations about what a horrible man Donald Trump is. You can't mess around in politics, and this led to sharp criticism from figures like David Lammy, who personally attacked the former US President. Braverman expressed frustration over how Labour's leadership was now backpedaling and trying to gain favour with Trump. Many people agreed with Braverman, with some calling Starmer's actions a grave mistake, believing that Labour had severely damaged Britain's ties with the US through unnecessary insults and were now scrambling to make amends. Some even praised Braverman for her common sense, suggesting she was more rational than most politicians in her party, and urged her to join the Reform UK party. Others expressed frustration with the lack of leadership from current politicians, yearning for someone who would prioritise British interests and stand firm like Trump, and pretend that you're in a student union, because otherwise you end up being left on the outside of all of the good stuff that's going on. And next Monday, when Donald Trump is inaugurated as the 47th President of the United States of America, I consider it to be a massive stain on British history that our Prime Minister will not be there. Let's ask Tobias Elward what he makes of it. Tobias: very good morning to you. Good morning to you. It's pretty awful, is it not, that here we are supposedly the public sentiment was clear. Starmer's handling of the situation had harmed Britain's international standing. Many rallied behind Braun, hoping she would take stronger political action and advocate for what they believed to be the right values for the country. On January 20th, 2025, the political conversation took center stage with a critical discussion between Jeremy Kyle and Isabel Oakeshott. The focus was on the relationship between the UK and the US, particularly in light of Donald Trump's inauguration and the UK's Labour Party under Keir Starmer back and cross. Live now back to Washington, D.C., because GB News US correspondent Stephen Edenton is with the former Home Secretary Salah Braverman. Steve, over to you. Hello. Yes, that's right, I'm with Sol Braun now. Sol, what do you think Trump's inauguration means for the UK? I think it means a huge amount. This is a real turning point for the American. Braverman, a former Home Secretary, didn't hold back in her criticism of Starmer's handling of US-UK relations, accusing him of harming it with his previous disdain for Trump. Starmer, who had opposed Trump's state visit and made personal attacks against him, was increasingly seen as irrelevant on the world stage. Arman slammed him for lacking diplomatic tact, especially since Trump was positioned to shape global politics in ways that Starmer seemed unable to follow. Many felt ST's approach had hurt the UK, with some even calling for his resignation. The public expressed admiration for Trump, contrasting his strong leadership with the perceived ineffectiveness of Starmer. People were particularly unhappy with ST's lack of action on important issues like the grooming gangs inquiry, something Trump would have tackled decisively. They argued many viewed Starmer's inability to address crucial national issues such as the rise of grooming gangs as evidence of his weakness as a leader. Yes, I don't understand the details of this, so we'll wait for government perhaps to clarify, but you're absolutely right. That, United States is our closest security ally, and as we've discussed on your program many times, the world is getting far more dangerous, far more unstable, and we need to be close, with America to deal with the challenges that are coming over the hill. I've just been. The public's frustration with Keir Starmer continued to grow, with many viewing him as a liability to the nation. Trump's strong stance on issues like immigration and law enforcement was seen as a breath of fresh air by many in the UK who longed for similar leadership at home. Trump's inauguration sparked a surge of support from those disillusioned with the current UK leadership, as many hoped for a shift toward decisive, strong leadership on January 4, 2025. The political pressure surrounding Keir Starmer intensified as both Donald Trump and Elon Musk sharply criticized his leadership. Trump described Starmer's energy policy as a mistake, especially his decision to increase windfall taxes on North Sea oil and gas, warning that the UK should embrace fracking to lower energy. Now, for the second day in a row, the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, has been criticizing the Prime Minister on his social media platform X. The row has escalated since yesterday, when it was revealed that Home Office Minister Jess Phillips had rejected calls for a government-led inquiry into historical child sexual exploitation in Ulm, saying instead it would be better for local council to commission it themselves, as Rotherham and Ford had done previously. Meanwhile, Elon Musk joined the criticism, particularly over Starmer's failure to address the issue of grooming gangs, a subject that has outraged the British public. Trump's remarks resonated with many as frustration over Starmer's handling of key national concerns grew. Many pointed out how policies like Starmer's stance on net zero and energy taxes were driving the UK into deeper economic difficulties, while others argued that the country should prioritize affordable energy solutions rather than costly green initiatives. There was a widespread sense that Trump's call for fracking and energy independence aligned better with the needs of the public, who were struggling with high energy costs and insecurity. The public's anger grew as the grooming gangs issue resurfaced. Musk's comment that Starmer was complicit in the abuse of British girls received broad. Some even suggested that Starmer should face legal consequences for mishandling these cases during his time heading the Crown Prosecution Service. Now Musk has taken aim at Keir Starmer's time as head of the Crown Prosecution Service. KY Zeram joins me now. Kami, what's afoot? Alex, as you say, Donald Trump's current right-hand man has been sending a barrage of increasingly incendiary tweets criticizing Keir Starmer in connection with the prosecution of child rape gangs amid growing unrest over ST's policies. A new poll revealed bleak forecasts for the Labour Party, with many pointing to ST's leadership failure. Support for Labour dropped, and the rise of Reform UK as a viable third-party alternative became more apparent. People were seeking strong, decisive leadership, and many looked to figures like Trump for inspiration, calling for Starmer to step down. As one phrase put it, only pedophiles protect their fellow pedophiles, and true to form, he came straight out the traps. The golden age of America begins right now. America will reclaim its rightful place as is the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth. Our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied. I was saved by God to make America great again. On January 20, 2025, the political atmosphere in the UK stood in steep contrast to the optimism surrounding Donald Trump's return to the White House. While Trump's annual speech promised to drain the swamp and restore America's greatness, the mood in the UK was entirely different. Public frustration with Keir Starmer's leadership grew as many compared his negative and ineffective approach to Trump's bold action and organized plans. Trump's inauguration was marked by powerful declarations that resonated with many Americans who felt Biden's leadership lacked a decisive can-do spirit. His plan to tackle illegal immigration, restore energy independence through fracking, and reject woke ideologies found a receptive audience in the UK. Many, disillusioned by ST's leadership, began to wish for a leader who would prioritize the country's interests much like Trump. Can we just take a moment, please, to compare that optimism, positivity, can-do spirit, glory to what we got over here after our last election?